It's time for Who Watch. Time and relative blackness in space.
Black girls have the box.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Connie, and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex.
Today we're discussing episode 7 of Doctor Who season 11, Kerblam! In this episode, the Doctor still loves a fez. Yaz is quick on her feet, and Ryan knows his way around a warehouse. She was so excited. She was like, "It's the Kerblam man!" And I just really love Jodie. Jodie really brings great excitement to everything.
I was literally like, "I'm glad that you're happy, but this seems like what is the security situation on the TARDIS that you just be letting?"
And that she was trying to avoid it for a long time. And I'm interested in the idea that we can see out into the vortex, like there's a window out of the TARDIS. Yeah. I don't know quite yet how I feel about that, but there's a window in the TARDIS, a sort of
Was it a window or like
I guess it's a screen, but like it's placed like a window. And I don't think we've ever really seen...
But maybe it's like we've never seen outside, but I was like, maybe it's like a projector or something. We're like...
Yeah.
I don't know. It was definitely different.
Yeah. But just the windowness of it is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't think we've ever seen the vortex from inside the TARDIS like that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been paying attention if it's been changing colors like in the RTD days.
The vortex? No, it's more like it's more like the because I think the only other time we see it is during Arachnids in the UK, which I've now seen like 3 more times because my sister loves it, and every time she's like, "Can I watch Arachnids in there?" I'm like, "No, it's not what it's called."
Can't you just say the spider one?
Okay. The spider one, but like it's kind of like a mix of like there's not one particular color. It's like like kind of
again,
purple,
the lava lamp
blue,
situation.
Red. Yeah, looks kind of like a beehive a little bit in some moments. So Kerblam is basically future Amazon.
Yeah,
and I mean it's funny because I was just watching the Patriot Act with
yes.
Hassan. I was just watching that episode that is talking about Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And so like as I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is trash. Like it's all trash.
And like I think Amani in our Slack said just in time for Black Friday, which is funny because like that's only a US thing, I think.
I don't think so. It's now a global? It's a new thing because I was watching 8 out of 10 Caps or Mock the Week. I was watching a British panel show that is, current, and they were talking about Black Friday and how like weirdly like we brought this thing like this there's this thing now that we're supposed to do, but it's a dumb thing, and they made it seem like they were bringing over a holiday, but it's just like a let's beat each other up, and so I think they're trying to make it go international.
Interesting. I mean, that makes sense from the capitalism point of view, but also, like, they don't have the day off. It works in the U.S. because we're off already.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, they're trying to do Black Friday and Cyber Monday and make it things global.
Then I guess it was purposefully slotted, possibly.
No, I mean, it's still for the BBC, like, even though it's a BBC-centric show, like, they still take into account, like, BBC America, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, Amazon, I think it was, like, we have this, I don't think it was, like, oh, we need to do it for Black Friday. I think it's more like we have this, this episode, and then, like, the higher-ups are like, oh, we'll slate it for this time.
Yeah, I think, or maybe it just happened to work out, like, Wizard Team sometimes, just, like, the timing.
Yeah, that's totally possible. So yeah, so it's future Amazon where it's 90% powered by robots, and they like are super proud that they're like a 10% people powered company, which means one person for every 10,000 workers, which just like to me or one people person for every 10,000 workers. Sorry, so that's like a person who like an HR person, but it just seems Like, and it's one of those things that they kind of do a good job of showing as we like are walking through, is these like robots that keep popping up and they're like, hey, what's going on? Or like, hey, maybe work faster. But it's creepy. And like, even before like shit starts going down, you're already kind of in this mode where you're like, okay, so like we're surrounded.
Yes, they very purposefully played up the creepy factor, knowing what they were going to do later to subvert it, but it was just like they just keep popping up, their faces, you know, their eyes are lit up.
They were like, really reminding me a lot of the Starship UK, like,
and the Beast Below
clowns, the Beast Below, like clowns, or whatever they were.
It's like, please keep your leisure talking to your leisure time.
No,
thank you.
But it was also like really funny because I love Lee Mack. I was super excited. I was super bummed because his role was, I mean, it's a good sized character, but it's a minor character. He's a minor character still. But
okay, so for the Anglophiles, who is Lee Mack?
Lee Mack was the dad that was Yaz's friend. He is Dan. He is best known for the panel show Would I Lie to You? And you should totally go on YouTube and watch it. You can watch all of them. It's David Mitchell. You guys know who David Mitchell is. He was one of the robots and dinosaurs on the spaceship.
Of you, so.
God, David Mitchell and Webb. These people are okay. Anyway, so he is a comedian. He's really known for like being like working class, and like he kind of plays up being like not posh, not stupid, but stupid. You know, just like a dude you want to grab a beer with.
I knew you were gonna say that. I saw it in your eye.
I couldn't think of something like you want to go to the pub after a game. He watches.
Else. It's fine.
Like he watches football while David Mitchell is like very cerebral and like doesn't know who Beyonce is. Like that's like the roles that they play. You know,
not someone you want me to. Okay.
I mean, he knows who Beyonce is, but he plays up the like I'm just an old man who doesn't know what pop is, like pop music. I know them, and it's funny when he does it. Anyway, Lee Mack knows who Beyonce is, likes football, and is, I don't know, he's funny. The whole point of that, though, is to say, they played up the fact that he was in this episode. He was like one of the, you know, people in the, you know, who were going to see this season. You know, it was like Shane Zaza, Chris Noth, Lee Mack. And I was like, Lee Mack! Then he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he did die pretty soon.
The whole point, the reason why I brought him up was like he did die early, but he was the one that was like, this is not normal. And like, so he was giving the robots names. He was like trying to like humanize them in a way that was like also making fun of the fact that like my coworkers are robots.
Yeah.
He was the only one until we have the reveal about Charlie. Kind of the only one who wasn't like blindly into the system. Yeah, like he appreciated his job and was, you know, happy to be working, but he didn't have the same level of like everything's fine that like Kira did, for instance.
Yeah, Kira was like weirdly cheerful.
Yeah,
maybe that's just me. I know that was the point, but I was just like, girl, please.
And this was one of the criticisms that we had about the show as a whole was like, and we're going to get into it more, but like the idea of, and someone had wrote a completely like separate thread on Twitter, like not about Doctor Who at all, but actually about taking your vacation time, which is like, we have this like this culture of everyone being thankful for having a job. And like, we shouldn't be thankful to have a job. And we shouldn't be like, worried about the company over our own needs, and we shouldn't be like, it should be, and I think this is kind of what the episode was trying to do, but like we can quarrel about whether or not they actually accomplish it. Like it should be that a company is just as thankful for its human employees and treats the human employees as indispensable as the human employees treat the job as indispensable. And even more so, like employees should feel liberated to be like, take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Like, I can move on from this job and get another job. Like, they shouldn't feel stuck or worried that anything that they do will end up losing them their job, and then they're just like left without any options.
Yeah. I don't know. So I feel like this was they were trying to do a capitalism critique, but it wasn't really clear if it was a critique or not. And it's been a while, but this reminded me of Sleep No More. In that
they thought they were doing something.
In that but I don't want to like put it all the way on the same.
It was more enjoyable than Sleep No More.
That's exactly. That's why I'm I don't want to put it on the same thing. But Sleep No More is the last episode that I can remember where they were at least trying to critique capitalism, or at least were trying to seem clever in critiquing capitalism. Because I think that's more what Sleep No More was doing, is they were just really trying to seem like they were super smart and amazing, and look at me and my, super cool. I go against the grain. I don't know any other way to be. I just march the beat of my own drum. All of that aside, I felt like there was a like, I think they kind of talked a lot about, like, or at least showed in the beginning, was a lot about like how the humans are being exploited while also like not really valued. Like, even though Judy, who, by the way, the actress was in the last season of Broadchurch, and I can't think of her name right now, but she was like a pretty big character in that season. So Judy seemed like she very much wanted to help, but it didn't feel like she fully got the resources that she needed to do that. And then Slade, who was like her boss, kind of didn't seem like he cared until the end, where you find out, plot twist, he did Carol. I don't know, it was weird. Because you could see that, like, clearly the automation was where they wanted to go, or where they had gone, and then it kind of went wrong, and now they're like, we got to bring the people in, and so it was very clearly there's some exploitation there, because like these people don't go home to see their family, like it's not really clear how much they get paid. But then on the other end, there was a moment where the doctor says, the systems aren't the problem, how people use and exploit this system, that's the problem, which doesn't feel true. Like, and that was the part where I started to be like, is this supposed to be a critique of capitalism or not? Because like, one of the things about capitalism is that it is inherently exploitative. And so to say that it's not the capitalistic system that's the problem, it's how people use it, is just like false. So it was unclear what they were trying to do with that. And like, I don't know. I think for me, it feels weird to have shows like this. Like, it felt that way when I was watching Sleep No More too, where it was like, I don't feel like y'all should do this because you're not capitalist. So like, what's the point?
Right. Yeah. It's like
at the end of the day,
a TV show on a network that makes millions of dollars, and even in the UK, it's like publicly funded, right?
But that doesn't negate their whole merchandising machine.
No, of course. But I just wanted to make sure I like acknowledge that factor of it, because it's like they get public money and like on top of being a private, getting private money.
It's a Sesame Street problem where like you get a public money, but also you're making millions upon millions, and then people are upset that you're getting public money. But
like Bayana was sort of saying, of like it's hard for a show like this to make that critique properly because it's the same system. So they didn't actually go where they could have gone in critiquing the system. Like, they kind of like ended up middle of the road with their critique. So it wasn't really a critique of how capitalism works at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That part was weird. I felt like I liked this episode for like not plot reasons, if that makes sense.
Well, I think like plot reasons, but the overall like the message, I guess, plot, and the like allegory,
the metaphor was funny, off.
It's like the metaphor was off. Yeah, when I was watching it, I really enjoyed it. Same. And then when you were talking about it on the Slack, and then it was like, what was the point, the argument that they were making? And I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I was watching it for this, and I got distracted while the episode was playing, and it was the end of the episode. And I found myself not caring to undistract myself for the end of the episode. Like, it was at the perfect moment of like, Charlie revealed himself and the thing exploded, and I was just like, oh, okay. Because I didn't really feel like going through watching that part again. I think someone on Twitter was like, I enjoyed, maybe it was Claudia from IO9. I think she was like, I enjoyed the first 90% of this episode, and then the other 10%, what happened?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt trying to rewatch it.
The Charlie reveal felt he's an actor on something, and I like him, and his face made me feel like, oh, I like you, Charlie.
That was the point.
I don't know what I know him from, but I know that I liked him. But the reveal and his like kind of manifesto, his spoken manifesto, was just like, but this don't make no sense, Charlie.
Yeah, I had a lot of...
And that's literally what the doctor was saying, but then I'm like, if the doctor's saying what we're saying, but like he's still, I don't know. It just felt like that.
Yeah, it was just like a very strange thing to like, yeah. And the thing too is like coming off of Demons of Punjab, which I think they did a very good job of like showing how you can be radicalized and how you can, kind of go down that path.
Yeah, they didn't,
and like really believe in your cause to the extent where you would like let your brother die or murder your brother. I don't know, but what Charlie was doing, which was like, I'm gonna kill all these people, and then what? Kerblam says that they're sorry. They pay damages. I
think the public is supposed to uprise to be mad about the like, automatic robots, and then they're supposed to trust them less and then hire more humans?
Well, what?
Maybe?
10%, 15%
right,
more?
Exactly.
More?
Exactly. Like, his plan was not thought out. And I agree with what you're saying in that, like, in Demons of Punjab, they spent time showing Manish and what some of his thought process, so you saw it gradually increase as the episode went on, but because they wanted Charlie to be a reveal, we don't get that same point of view or introspection in order to see, like, all right, these are the gripes that he has, and this is what he feels about it, so that when we do get to the end and he's so radical, then, we would have been able to understand, like, oh man, they kind of laid it out without us knowing, and then, they bait and switched us or whatever. But they didn't do that because there are a lot of characters, and because they wanted to focus on it being this big reveal that it was him.
Yeah.
Even though the reveal moment is good, but that's separate.
Yeah. I do appreciate this season's commitment to having at least one fucked up white boy per episode. Like, they're doing a really good job at that, and I appreciate. Except for episode 1, I think.
Well, who was the fucked up white boy in Demons of Punjab?
Just all Europeans. Period. Mountbatten, and the other British colonialists.
There wasn't someone on.
There wasn't a specific one in that.
There was a amorphous, fucked up whiteness that just permeated throughout the episode.
Exactly. And if I was a straight white male and had been watching Doctor Who 55 years and just loved all the whiteness of it, and then all of a sudden there's a woman and there's people of color on my TARDIS. And then on top of that, they just keep painting me as the bad guy. I too would write a strongly worded letter online and continue to watch and not boycott because I'm so mad.
What is wrong with you today?
What's wrong with me?
She's on 10 today.
Take a nap.
J.K. Rowling is doing the most, and so I just am feeling a lot of things. So
she just woke up and said, "J.K. Rowling don't have no fucks. I don't have no fucks."
I mean, J.K. Rowling needs to be on this list. To be honest,
I'm just saying that personally, I appreciated that.
Yes,
because I thought it was Slade, and I was like, "Oh, we get another fucked up white boy," and I was like, "Oh no, it's not Slade." Okay,
it's
just kidding. And then it was
Charlie,
and I was like, "Oh, well, check off the list." Like, it is consistent, and I appreciate that.
And I think that it's interesting because even if you exclude their whiteness, which why would you? It's an important character of it, but it is
maleness,
but it's been humanity every episode except for episode 1. For some reason, or not for some reason, but at least, I mean, some of them are human presenting, I guess, like the space race one and the Saranga one. But there's been a lot of human error this season, which seems to be a consistent, the villains, and we talked earlier this season about how the villains haven't been as compelling compared to past seasons, but it's mostly because they're trash humans, I think.
Right, and I think that's the interesting thing too is like, I kind of appreciate that they're going this route in trying to tell new stories, because I think that if they had been, like, throwing a bunch of new aliens at us, it probably would have felt like a lot, if that makes sense. Like, I think, like, giving us a sense of, and having them be, like, you know, fairly evil, and we'll probably see them more times, and they'll be, like, more of an enemy against the Doctor versus, like, the Patang who's cute and is, like, a big ball of chaos, but, like, is not malicious in any kind of way. So, like, I think having only a few has made it a little bit easier to kind of take in all the other new things that we are getting. And, like, you know, by next season, we'll probably get the Daleks back, and we may get new monsters, more monsters. But, yeah. Because even when it seemed like the robots were the bad guy, which, like, I still don't really trust the teammates, but, like, when we found out, like, when we thought it was them, it still felt very dark. Like, we've had, even though it's not the same robots, we've had, like,
they were almost Cybermen. Like, I think as we were watching,
they were almost Cybermen, and it's also even the angels from that one Christmas special with Kylie Minogue. I think someone brought up, which I don't like that episode, but it's like that where the robots.
I love that episode.
I don't like that episode. But I don't like
the Titanic.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe I need to give it another try, but no.
Quite a bit.
It's stupid.
It's so stupid.
But it's stupid in like it's harmlessly stupid.
Sure.
I don't know. I think it was. I mean, like, it was fine, but I think I was mostly bored. But
yeah.
But the point is that, like, the kind of, like, concept of, like, oh, there's these robots and they're evil is not a new one in Doctor Who. I mean, or in sci-fi in general, but like, you know, even if they had been the bad guys, it wouldn't have felt like a new villain.
Yeah,
like,
no,
capital
for sure.
Villain.
Speaking of the robots, I do quibble against the line, and we've discussed this because of the Bill thing from last season. So, at the beginning of the episode, the Doctor says, some of my best friends are robots, and I dislike that line for two reasons. Because of the reason, which, like, all right, I'm over it. But also, is she talking about Nardole? Because that's just an extra reason why I need her to stop. Because Nardole was technically a robot.
Was he? That's crazy.
But yeah.
Nardole was a robot?
Yeah. He got,
I thought he was like a cyborg.
I mean, am I being robotist if I say what's the difference?
A little, but no.
Like, that was my
because
thing.
There's a fine line, I think, between a cyborg, an android, and, like, an actual robot.
And sometimes a cyborg was born human and then got progressively, like, bionic.
Human? But was Nardole born human? We don't know.
Well, not human, but he was an organic born. He was organic.
Was he? I don't know.
And then his parts got all messed up.
Because he survived when he really shouldn't have.
But by then he was a cyborg, right?
Girl,
Listen, I don't need to dive into Nardole's history.
Exactly.
I don't care.
Yeah. I don't even know why we had to even say his name.
It's fine. Either way. There is, I think, a distinct difference that is important for other
any of the
characters that are not.
For some reason,
if it was a different character, we could discuss the differences.
The Doctor had handles for, like, that one episode.
Yeah.
So that, Cyberman head.
So some of her best friends are robots, but, I just...
Yeah. I don't know. I always feel weird when, like, white people make the some of my best friends are blank jokes when, like, they still make those jokes. Or not even... They still say that phrase unironically in real life. So
and weird. It's like we only have, like, two, like, writers of color on your staff right now. So, like, don't make that joke.
Like, let's not. I'm like, it's cute. I'm glad you tried, but, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, I wasn't mad at it. Like, I wasn't, like, aggressively upset. I was just more like, okay.
Yeah, I, like, frowned amidst, like, 13 being adorable. Because, like, the Fez was back, the psychic paper was back, and I was like, 13! And then she said that, and I was just like, oh. Right.
Well, see, like, I really like about the Doctor this episode, but also, like, I appreciate the callbacks to different, like, Doctors in a way that's like not, because I think one of my things with season 5 of Doctor Who was, like, I hated how it was so cut and dry.
Yeah,
and, like, there was like except for like Amy forgetting about the Daleks, like, that was, like, the only time that there was
and that was only in deference to like the idea of, like, we don't want to talk about that. So then
Exactly.
Amy forgot so that they could not have to mention it for real.
Exactly.
So it's not technically a reference.
But again, it's like the cut and dry kind of like nah. And I appreciate that, like, obviously, like, I feel like the show feels very different, and it definitely feels like like they're going in a different direction than the show was going up until last season. But I appreciate her being like, hey, it's a Fez, and like,
still
look at me. It's still me. Like, she ordered that shit as 11.
Right, forgot it was coming.
Ordered that shit, traveled 200 plus years without ever getting it, and then ended up back in that galaxy and was like, oh, what's good?
Although I do wonder.
And then, like, you know, the what is it? The Agatha Christie
reference.
Like, I gasped. And that's another episode I've seen a lot.
Yeah,
because I was like, oh, yeah. And so, like, I just appreciate, you know, it doesn't have to be like a full thing, but just like, I did that thing once.
Yeah. But I do wonder if she didn't order it as 11, but in fact, and I don't know how it would really happen, but
I think Kerblam ordered it for 11, but it came to 13.
I think they ordered it for 13, like, maybe, yes. I feel like it ordered it for the Doctor as something that the Doctor would enjoy.
Oh, I get that. That makes sense.
Entice her or him to come to the factory because they wrote the note. And that's why I say that. Also, I just wanted to remember, because when I rewatched the episode, I realized that this didn't happen. So Ryan pops the bubble wrap at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
And so they didn't explode. Thankfully. He almost killed them all. But then at the end of the episode, I guess they were all just messing with Graham then, or did he take new bubble wrap from the Kerblam factory?
No, I think they were just like, fam, we just, like, it's too fresh, it's too new.
Yeah, too soon. Be cool.
I was
be careful.
Because I was like, at first I thought, after I watched the episode the first time, I was like, yeah, don't pop that. That's going to blow everybody up. But then I rewatched it and realized that Ryan actually pops it at the beginning, and I was like, oh, it's the same one. They just didn't want him to be messing with the bubble wrap right now. And also,
I think it was more just like, could you imagine the jumpiness that you would have? Like,
every time he pops
PTSD.
Yeah. And it's funny because ever since the reveal, I've been like, they moffated bubble wrap, y'all.
Mm-hmm. It did. I'm not gonna lie, I got a package from Amazon today, and I opened it, and then my sister was like, "Can I get the bubble wrap?" And I was like, "Nah." She was like, "But I cannot." I'm like, "Nope, you can't."
Not today.
Not today. Give me a week. Give me a minute.
And then, in terms of like the robots and the system, I am once again mad at the robot and the system. Like, and this is the thing that the episode doesn't really dive into either, in terms of what we were talking about earlier about, like, they don't really critique the system. They say that the system is the perfect part, and then humans are the things that are exploding it. But no, the system is what killed Kira. The system attracted her, like, arrested her, attracted her to punish Charlie for what he's doing. And I'm like, first of all, how dare you? Like, excuse you. Don't be using women. Yeah, just fridging poor Kira in bubble wrap. And then, you know, going back to the idea of, like, the system is what did that just to punish Charlie, one person, so they knew that he liked her. It knew that he liked her, so, like, it killed her. And it's like, no, the system gotta go down, too.
Yeah, I think they were trying to have nuance, but they didn't get there.
They didn't get it.
Yeah, there wasn't enough time by the time the reveal came at the end. It was sort of like, it all felt kind of rushed through.
Yeah, but I think that they were trying to say, like, I think what they wanted to say was, like, the system isn't perfect, but neither are we. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more, because this is, like, a thing that we in tech, people in tech, not everyone's in tech. Oh my God, I'm becoming that person. There's this, like, ongoing thing, which they're like, I feel like people are thinking, like, you know, let's say Facebook, because fuck Facebook. Like, Facebook is against us, but it's not Facebook. There isn't, like, a person behind a desk that's, like, making this. It's like, it's an algorithm, and it's like, but a dude wrote that algorithm. Yeah. And the algorithm is fucking flawed. Behind it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like, and you're like, and data isn't going to save you. And data can be just as biased. Data can be just as, like, And it's also how you use the data, and you start off from people. And so, like, the system isn't perfect because the system at its fundamental level, like when they go back and they use Twirly or whatever, and they want to go back to like the beginning of Kerblam, like some dude was sitting behind a computer who wrote that code. Mm-hmm. And then it grew upon itself, but like some dude was like, let's make this efficient. Let's cut out the need for as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. And the thing I did also not like was that we got middle management. So we saw Slade and then like the people operations woman.
Yeah.
And then it's like up to Judy. But then at the end, it's up to them to like go back and like tell someone. There wasn't a CEO or like a board, you know, that we're like, that's who should have been on that.
And that's another thing at the end where I'm just like, what was the point of this? Because, you know, Jody and Slade were like, yeah, we're gonna change. You was one person in charge of 10,000 people. Just people. That's not including all the robots that you were in charge of. So how is it that like you two people out of this entire moon's worth of factory of warehouse for a self-governing, almost sentient planet or moon, really, the two of you are going to be the ones to make the changes that are necessary? No, especially because, as Robin said, they're middle management people. And, you know, as someone who's worked in retail, like, they have no power. The people who are in charge of the store, the people who are in charge of the store can only do so much if corporate is, like, coming down on them to make whatever rules are in place, you know? So, like, they were basically the HR person and, like, the store manager, or maybe the district manager, but there's still always someone higher up who's in charge of those decisions, and so it makes no sense and doesn't hold, especially considering like the whole point of the episode was like you can't really trust people. So you're just gonna the doctor's just gonna be like, sure, you guys got it. You don't need any help with that, right? They're like, no, we can't help you, we're freelance, which was cute and like facts, like they don't have the actual experience to help with this situation, but they're still like, there isn't anyone who has like experience in this situation, and it seems like there's a whole half a galaxy full of people who need employment.
Where is space?
So like somebody needs to be able to
Space Jeff Bezos.
Because I mean that's who it needed to be.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we have this whole thing. It's like, let's not talk about, like, we cannot talk about the ills of Amazon without talking about, like, what Jeff Bezos can and can't do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As CEO, as founder, as person who speaks to the board. As person with all
the money. The personal money in the world. Like, who is the owner of Kerblam, and what does their bank account look like? Because, good Lord. Mm-hmm. It's like, what galaxy are they trying to colonize right now?
So I think one of the things that I liked about this episode was that Team TARDIS got to split up twice. Mm-hmm. So we get like two different teams, and like the first one we get Yaz on her own, and I think at this point, like, man, we're in episode 7 and haven't seen a Cram-centric episode, and look at us. I mean, obviously there's still 3 more, but like, you know, I think that it was interesting to see. Look, I liked that Yaz got to be on her own. We got like Ryan, they very much know who he is, and we'll like get into that. But I think with Yaz, we got to see her talk to someone who wasn't the Dr. or Graham or Ryan, and we got to kind of like get more. I think we got more of who she is. I think that her character development is much different than, at the very least, than Ryan. But like we kind of like understand that she's very much like, you know, I don't want to call. She's not a Gryffindor. She's still a Slytherin, but she very much kind of just like something's going down. She's going after it.
Yeah.
But you know what else I noticed about Yaz in this episode too is that I think she's kind of a therapist. She's like a listener. So like in the Bating episode, there was that moment when Ryan was kind of like spilling to Yaz about his father and like confiding in her, and I was annoyed by it. Not annoyed at Ryan, because I thought that was like really good character development for Ryan, but I was annoyed that like she's the sounding board. Yeah. But then with Dan or Dad or whatever, I don't know, Lee Mack. Lee Mack, she was also his sounding board and was like asking the questions to like get him to kind of open up. you know, and just like having that face of like, I'm here and I'm listening and I'm interested in your life. And I felt like that was important to me because then I was like, okay, well, that's who she is. Like,
yeah,
it is intentional that she's asked that people are opening up to her. And so I liked that we had that moment to build it off of because it kind of did let me, whereas the last time I felt like I still don't know anything about Yaz. This time I was like, okay, well, I know now that Yaz is the kind of person who people open up to. And
I think one of the things probably like in the differences between how Ryan is being written and how Yaz is being written is we can like see Ryan's growth and like see, but I think that also where they both started is different. Whereas like Ryan was very much like not in a place he wanted to be and kind of feeling lost, and like his confidence was kind of not great. Whereas like Yaz very much knows where she wants to be, knows what she needs to do to get there, and doesn't like the position that she's in, but she's secure within herself. So then like her growth and development is much different because it's a lot of it is just like seeing how she reacts to these moments, because she's like, I know I got it, so let me just go after this
and get it.
Let me, she's like, I'm surrounded by robots. Okay, I see let me duck under this shelf real quick. I'm out. So like she, you know what I mean? Like I think the way that she interacts with what's going on is just different because she already kind of knows who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that, like, we talked about this not being a Graham-centric episode, but I kind of think that they wanted it to be, and we're just not here for it, so we didn't get it. Like, because what I saw was the doctor switches bracelets or whatever with Graham, but actually the system wanted the doctor to be in maintenance because that was where she needed to like meet Charlie and stuff.
Oh,
and so Graham,
good job.
Gets to be the person that's like,
that.
I got a map. I got this. I introduced you to Charlie. Like I built a relationship with Charlie. When that should have been the doctor, but like we just are like, I mean, I guess Graham's there, whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think you make I didn't really make that connection between the machine putting the doctor in that place and her kind of undoing it, and then the Kerblam was like, no, but I actually wanted you to be in maintenance, girl. But I don't think this was Graham centric at all. I feel like he had, if anything, equal moments with Ryan in terms of like being able to like provide answers, because Ryan was the one who was like, oh, I know how to work a warehouse. Oh, I know how, I know where we can get this thing. So like, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't Graham-centric because we didn't learn anything about him.
Yeah, I don't, maybe not Graham-centric. It's not the right way, but I think the episode wanted him to be an integral part.
And I think that he was. I think that they kept the balance between the companions. Honestly, this might be the one where they got the balance the most right.
Equal, yeah. I wanted to get just a little bit more.
Yeah, so do I. But I think that's also because we haven't gotten
this particular
most
episode,
of
though.
her. Yeah, I think because like given like how much time each of them have gotten overall, Yaz has gotten the least, and so that's why I agree. I definitely wanted her to have more, but I think that for this, just like this particular episode, I think that they were pretty even.
I feel like she didn't get an answer. Like she didn't. I feel like she was active in ways that she hadn't been before, and I feel like her with Dan's listening and then the disappearance and stuff was good. But in terms of like, I don't know, a heroic...
She didn't get to like save the day or like solve a puzzle the way that like Ryan figured out how to get down to
she kind of like grabs
delivery
Charlie
or whatever.
And then he breaks loose. And I was like, oh, I was hoping she would like get him, like...
I didn't like that part too. I was really upset that he broke.
I was confused about the breaking free, but I think it was also just the end kind of fell apart. I think it was kind of all of it together, because I was like, oh, he grabbed, like, okay, so out here using her train, and then he breaks free.
I was like, yes,
and then they're like, and then he runs to the robots, and they're like, hey, bro, it's about to blow up, and he just sits there and stares at him, like he don't know what they're saying. Like all of a sudden, he can't understand the language that they're speaking, and it wasn't clear why he had to die. And like the end just felt weird. Like I just that whole scene.
By the way,
felt
all
like
humans that we meet that are lower management die, that are not management die.
Shit.
Yeah,
that is true.
Mm-hmm. I thought about that because I was like, "Oh, look at that! The managers are the ones surviving." I see how it is. Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, he's over here on some economic
terrorism,
anxiety. So whatever.
Go to bed, Bayana.
Why?
Stop it. What is wrong with you today?
I did like, and this was a dual moment, and I guess it's also shipping, but not actually. It's just my brain was just like, yes, standing together with the doctor in the office when they, like, the doctor was like, well, you're gonna have to deal with me, and they both stood up, and I was like, Team TARDIS, because it was the right amount of people, and it was Ryan and Yaz, and I was like, yes, I love a coordinated stand with the camera low. They looking all high. I see it.
They were, they were cute. Excellent. And then, like, I liked that. So, like, we got Yaz on our own, but then we also got to see her with Ryan, and so they were, like, you know, running, sliding down chutes and stuff together, and, like, they held hands for a minute. Obviously, they're, like, jumping off of a conveyor belt, so there's that, but, like, but still. Also,
the doctor was like, let's go to this alcove, and I really thought she was about to push them in the alcove and then go somewhere else and leave them up to their own devices, and yet she was just like, so let me tell you about Agatha
dirty
Christie.
Girl.
And listen, just a little space making out, or at least just like, hey, we're trapped here together, let's acknowledge that with some wiggly eyebrows. But we didn't even get any wiggly eyebrows.
There are no wiggly eyebrows.
Not even some wiggly eyebrows.
But I think I do like that at the end, at least, you know, as far as Yaz is concerned, that she kind of gets to, like, she gets to make a request. Like,
she gets to be an emotional hero.
She gets to be emotional, and she gets to be like, we should do this thing for Dan. I will also point out, just because, like, we are who we are, she's like, can I make a request? And the doctor says, always. And I'm just like, way to bring it back. Also, way to continue to stand for Yaz.
Right. Like anything you want, I got you.
Of course. I'm like, every time. Why you ain't even gotta ask, boo. We already there.
It's already yours.
Oh, you want to go see Dan's daughter? Ha, plot twist. I'm already outside her door. I read your mind.
The TARDIS knew, and I knew. We all knew together.
Mm-hmm. Always. Also, the doctor brings back the Venusian Aikido as well, which was cool.
And I've never warmed to you. Which I like that there are callbacks to this same season. Which is just like, oh, we're far enough in now where it's not too much.
Yeah.
I never warmed to you. I didn't warm to him. She just doesn't like white people. White men. She doesn't warm to white men, I think, is what we've learned so far.
I think now that she's not one, she kind of can, like, get some perspective, and she sees, like, wow.
She's right? Like, that used to be me. Wow.
That's crazy.
That's why she apologizes so much. Like, sorry,
she's sitting there like, wow, y'all dealt with me like this for how long? Ooh. For 900 years like this? Or 10,000, 1,300? I don't know how old she is.
Dowdy eyebrows and hair.
Especially the eyebrows.
Eyebrows. My God. That was rude. Ryan rants and raves.
Eyebrows have been the conversation of the evening.
I need to co-host and or because someone will take my spot because I'm quitting.
Ryan is the best.
Ryan is the best. He's grabbing that bubble wrap.
He was so delighted. He was
like, oh, yo.
He was like, oh, look at this. She's like, I got a fez. He's like, I got some bubble wrap. Everyone's happy.
Everyone was so happy. He was so delighted. And then him jumping into that chute. And not only the jump, but just like, wait, I just need you to know that I have a coordination problem. Well, and then I'm not really good at it, but so I'm going to do this, but, you know, I just need you to know that I
like that he was, like, explaining it where he was like, it takes me a while to get this. Yeah. But, like, I got it now because I did it before. And, like, I mean, I shouldn't have done it, but, like, I almost got fired, but it's cool because we're going to do it now, and I got this. Like, he was babbling a lot.
He was babbling. It was adorable.
It was, like, the cutest thing.
I think we need to start counting the Ryan yells because they've been classic every time. And it's just like... he just climbed down there like, ah! It was so good.
It was really good.
I also like that his dyspraxia made a comeback.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
It's not that, like, I like it like, oh, he's,
it should have been mentioned every episode or anything, but
But yeah, it's just that it's like a thing that he mentions because it's important background information about him or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think it was important for this too because he works in a warehouse, so I think that they kind of were playing that up like this is like an element or an environment that he is used to, but also like he wasn't always used to it and kind of like bringing up that there was a learning curve for him, but now he's good and he jumps down chutes.
But also, homie, what you doing at work that you climbing down that you jumping down chutes like that?
Being foolish. That's what he can.
Being 19. Being 19. Let me remember.
Graham makes a joke about his age at some point. I can't really remember what it was, but
it was this point where they were talking about.
I remember if you're that age.
Kiara and Charlie, and they were flirting, and he's like, "I remember when you were like that." And Ryan's like, "When?" He was like, "Last month."
Last week.
Damn.
So rude.
I had to do him like that, but okay.
He really didn't. But I do think that this episode also it sort of mentions this dyspraxia because he's in the most familiar situation, so it's kind of like triggering home, and at home he has to deal with it more because he's not in space in a fantastical, I feel like maybe traveling in space has let him not feel quite so discoordinated, and so he's now in a situation
but I also
where
think that like everyone's at a disadvantage in space, like everyone being like Yaz and Graham, and like they're all at the same like disadvantage, and like at this point it's like, oh wait, I still have this extra thing.
Yeah. So it was the most at home he's felt in space, and so I think it just sort of brought back other memories from home, which is like, oh, it took me a month to get used to working because I had to practice and do my routine the same way so that I can get used to what I need to do. But they showed up on that plan, and he's like, wow, it's like being back at work. The doctor was like, that's a great idea. And he was just like, I really didn't.
Because he was so not excited. Like, by the end, he was fine. Like, by the end, he was down. But, like, at the beginning, he was like, I didn't ask to come to a warehouse because that was why I joined the TARDIS. I specifically said in Interactives in the UK, I specifically said that I would join Team TARDIS so that I could not work in a warehouse. So how did we end up
out here?
In the space
warehouse with the space robots? Girl.
Like, no thank you. But I did like that he also was taking the lead. So then, like, when he takes Yaz and Charlie, he's like they're kind of like, okay, what do we do? And he's like, I got this.
Yeah.
We're out. Like, and I appreciate that he was just like
I know my way around a roundhouse.
Like, I never been here before, but it's cool.
We've been to one warehouse, we've been to them all.
All warehouses, even in space, on a different planet, on the moon of a different planet, must be the same as this Earth warehouse back home.
But I mean, even that was like, I like that because he did that too when they like first landed. He was like, beyond the doctor, he was the first one to walk up, like, let's go. Like,
yeah, he's like, I already know what it is.
And them clowning Graham for being the maintenance guy was also great. Because, yes, man, be the trash man. I've added maintenance man to our list of ways to refer to Graham. We've been kind of slow on that, so we'll try to get back to that.
I don't think he should be there, but he's not appalling. And I think that's why I have chilled a little bit because... I mean, I will say, though, that it was really, like, this is the first episode also where there were no other guest cast members that weren't of color. So it was, like, very stark to me that Yaz and Ryan were the only two people of color in this episode.
Yeah, which is not my experience in retail. And, like...
And also, I was just like, damn, like, this is okay. All right.
I mean, I think one thing to say about that, though, is, like, if only 10% of people are going to have jobs.
Yeah. They're not going to be the people of color.
But then I feel like
it's definitely not going to be us.
Like, I think that if they were going to do that, then they should have done it. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the discussion we've been having about, like, they did, Demons of the Punjab, and they did Rosa, and those were all set in the past, where it was like racism is in the past. How do you bring it to the future? And this would have been a perfect moment for Ryan or Yaz could have been like, well, my mate's back. Ryan could have been like, well, this is not what warehouses look back where I come from. All the warehouses is just people who look like me. And it wouldn't have needed a whole thing. just some sort of
it could just be a mention
of, or like all of the people who were already got could have been all people of color, and then it's like, well, of course you wait for the white people to be last, you know?
It's like in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they're in space / the future, spoilers, and Mac is like, yo, I already like, we're not following after the monster because we already know who's going to be the first to die. So let's not do this. Like, I think that's fine, right? Because they, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't about race. Like, they don't go all the way in like that. But, like, there are moments where the black dude is going to be like, yo, let's not do this. Because this just doesn't seem like it's safe for me, personally. Right. Like, I've watched the movies. I know what's about to happen. Like, it's a very easy way there's an easy way to acknowledge it without it feeling...
It doesn't have to be the central part of the narrative, but like you can admit. And
it doesn't need to be something like, oh, some of my, you know, because I think that like some of my best friends are robots is a way where it's a way for like white people to laugh, whereas like Ryan being like, hey, wonder where all the black people are is a way for black people to be like, yep, I wonder. Yeah. Been wondering. You know what I mean? I think it caters to a different audience. It hits a different note.
Mm-hmm. Quotes from the TARDIS. How would you like a warning for insubordination? I'd love one. I could add it to my collection. Also, I think the thing that makes these quotes so great is Jodie's accent. Like, I just listen to her talk, and I'm just like, what are you saying? This is so adorable.
I have that with Yaz right now. I'm like in love with Yaz's accent. They all
have like the same accent. So I just am so fascinated to hear them say words.
Yeah. I'm such a Butterfingers. I love butter. It's like, no.
Just terrible flirting.
Yeah. I loved them flirting because I was sitting there. I had to go back a couple times because I like they were flirting, and it wasn't even about them flirting because I was like, okay, yeah, y'all are awkward as hell. But it was like the doctor and her friends, they were all just kind of like looking at him. Like,
the way that they were looking at them. Like,
they were lined up.
They're just like, wow,
what is going on here?
It was like and also yikes. They were just like,
yeah.
And then later,
they're like, I ship it, but they really need to get it together.
And then Graham was just like, wow, I can see something. He's just like, how can you tell? I just have a psychic. It's one of my psychic powers. Really? No. You're mad obvious and terrible.
Everybody and a mama can tell.
Even the robots can tell, and they don't have feelings.
No, that just got scary. That didn't need to be scary. Laters. Oh, not doing that again. Sticking with bye. I love that because it kind of reminded me of Who the Man.
Yes.
How does she tries things out?
Yeah.
Just like, I say that now. I do now. Or like, nope.
I think she could rock a laters.
Yeah. I thought she rocked it.
Yeah. She just decided she couldn't.
Personal choice, you know?
Yeah. Ever hidden in a paneled alcove? No. You haven't lived. And in 1,300 years, or however old she is, there have been plenty of paneled alcove.
Yes.
So many. Also, again, I really thought she was leaving them there.
Yeah.
To just sort themselves out.
SS Razzmatazz. Now it's not the time. That's coming at the season finale.
True.
Talking of Wasp, did I ever tell you about me and Agatha Christie?
Yes.
Like, I think what was funny is this time it made me, like, I think I, like, shouted. I was like, oh, yes! But, like, because she's been doing it for, like, at least since episode 4, where she'll just be like, I once did this thing, and it's been random shit that, like, we didn't see. So I didn't expect it to be anything that we knew about. I expected it to be another obscure, random reference. And I also, and, like, the way that Yaz and Ryan kind of react to when she says like random shit. They're just like, yo, now's not the time. But this time I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's do it.
And she has time to actually tell them the story. They were hiding in the alcove for who knows how long. Right. Now I feel bad for Ryan and Yaz, who were just sitting there like, and then the wasp did what? Really?
Brought a big stinger. And Donna and her amazing powers of detection.
And then I almost died by poison. But Donna saved me.
The Harvey Wallbangers.
It's a solid episode, though. I think that's why we're also so excited. Is that it's actually a good one.
It's one that you do want to hear about. I do want to hear about you and Agatha Christie because that was
go watch
great.
That.
Yeah.
That's the problem with conspiracies. There's so much to think about. I love that because it's one of the things where, like, it's the biggest thing that our argument against conspiracies that I've always found really compelling is, like, no one can keep all those moving parts together. Like, that's why conspiracies don't.
Yeah.
Like, there are some, like, Watergate was a conspiracy. Like, there are some conspiracies, but, like, those big so-and-so killed JFK and we've known about it for 30 years or, like, 50 years and all that stuff. Like, nobody's keeping that secret that long. Yeah. Like, someone's going to fuck it up. So.
And even in the moment, it's just, like, too much.
Yeah, I love that she says that.
And I feel like I know someone who says that. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was one of you, but maybe not. But there's someone that I think know.
It's someone in our Slack, because I think we did have a conspiracy conversation in the Slack.
Yeah, there's just like someone that I can't remember it right now, where it's just like, no, I don't like this because I can't keep up with all these, with all the lies and all the deceit and all the things you can't talk about. And I just really relate to that idea, even though I consider myself a decent secret keeper. Khan and Sinclair, the greatest detectives in the galaxy.
Facts.
Ship it!
Detective Razzmatazz. Just let us ship it, really. But if they don't let us ship it, that's what fanfiction is for.
And if I feel like I'm fine. The Doctor get together, I'm also fine with that at this point.
Right.
But I just,
And, like, honestly, they're probably going to have no one get together.
I was going to say, I'm actually not fine with that only because the Doctor is 1,300 years old.
And she's married to River Song. Like,
there's a trial separation happening right now. And I'm not happy about it, but I understand that that's what's happening.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, part of me is like, yeah, let's ship it. But then also part of me is like, don't, because Doctor and human romances get...
Yikes.
Yeah, real quick, real fast.
Need to do it, so.
Check out blackgirlscreate.org. Follow us on Twitter at WeBlackandNerds. Use the hashtag Tarbis to talk all things Doctor Who with us and with others. Join our Slack where we have a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who. Rate and review us on iTunes.
Sometimes those conversations take a left field.
But that's fine.
But I think you'll enjoy them.
Rate and review us on iTunes and where podcasts are found.
No, but seriously, guys, rate and review us on iTunes, please. If you want to leave a nice little comment on what you like about the show, that'd be great. I mean, you're in the app. Just, like, open the app right now. And whatever app you're listening to us in, just, click that 5-star. Just click that 5-star and just be like, I love these girls because such and such and such. I'm not going to tell you what to say, but, just be moved from your heart. Your two hearts.
Boom. Tarbis is a part of Hard Knock Media. We are a part of the Nerds of Color podcast network, including podcasts Hard Knock Life, Southern Fried Asian, DC TV Classics, Ask Bi Girls, Desi Geek Girls, We're Not All Ninjas, and That Moment. You can check out all these podcasts at hardnocmedia.com.
Thank you for listening. You can join us next week when we discuss episode 8, The Witchfinders, which is apparently the second Doctor Who story written and directed by a woman in all 55 years.
Yep. Written by a woman, directed by a woman. Both and.
Both and.
Not the same woman.
Not the same woman,
but
correct.
Two women.
Absolutely. Yes. So that should be interesting.
Bye, guys.
I mean, Bayana distracted me with her critiques of white British men, so I got distracted is what I'm saying.
Who, me?
I got distracted by Bayana calling someone, I won't name names, human Nick and mole rat, but, so I was watching the episode.
Hurting my feelings in the process.
You don't think that the moment before Matt Smith clone.
Oh, she's just naming names now.
We're on the Doctor Who podcast, but I'm just saying, in the Rebel Flesh, you didn't think that before he fully changed, you didn't think that was much of a change? Like when he came out the little white tub, he didn't have to do much to look like himself.
Anyway,
you're telling me that they don't look like living flesh, and I am just saying. And I'm not saying this as a critique on how, like, on their, like, whatever. If you like them, if you think that they're cute, that's fine. I just also would like you to concede. Okay.
How? You like them, you think they're cute, but I'd also like you to concede that they look like melting piles of flesh. Both and.
Yes. I am here for nuance. I'm nothing if not an advocate.
The black girls have the box.